Welcome back. This topic is center of mass. Center of mass is the mean location of all the mass in a system. With the center of mass, we can assume, okay, this is a major point here, that we're assuming that all the mass is concentrated in a single point. If we take a look at this little image here, we have a rod with two wooden balls at either end of the rod. Now, one of these wooden balls is larger than the other, so I'm going to say this one's bigger, greater mass, and this one's smaller. Now, if these two wooden balls were the exact same mass, the exact same size, the center of mass would be in the middle. So the balancing point. This gentleman is balancing this rod on his hand, on his fist. If they were of the same size, we'd think that it would balance right in the center of the rod. However, since one of the wooden balls has a greater mass, the center of mass, this point right here, is actually closer to the wooden ball of greater mass. So we call this point the center of mass. Now, we use center of mass to actually simplify things when we're solving physics problems. It allows us to assume that one point is where all the mass is concentrated in. Okay, now, the two equations that we need for center of mass. We have the center of mass for the x-coordinate system. So if we had a Cartesian coordinate system, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. This formula gives us the center of mass for the x-coordinate, whereas this one gives you the center of mass for the y-coordinate. Now, all this is the first object, so the mass of the first object times its x position, plus the mass of the second object times its x position, and so on and so forth, divided by the total mass. And it's the same thing for the y center of mass, except we're using y coordinates. So when we use these two equations, when we're given the mass of each object as well as the x and y coordinates, we are able to determine the center of mass for an entire system. Okay, so the x variable, the variable x is the horizontal distance from the origin, from the center. Okay, this is just a reference point. You can choose, it's kind of an arbitrary point depending on the system. The y variable is the vertical distance, so the y distance from the origin, and then m is the mass, and that's always going to be in kilograms.